Okay, this is Dr. Mitchell again, and we're going to walk through how to do a one sample t-test or a z-test using JASP. And so again, we're going to go to our Excel data file, and here I just have a group of data from a sample. We measured a couple of variables here. FVC is one of those in all of our subjects, and then a score on a test is another. And we want to know, how does this data taken from a population, is it significantly different from the population it was taken from? So we have to assume, in order to do this, that I know the population mean and standard deviation. Right? If I don't know that, I can't do a one sample z-test. Now, for this example, we're going to assume that the population we have does have a specific mean and standard deviation that we know. And because of that, we're going to go right into JASP. I've already opened the file into JASP, and as you can see, it looks identical to what we saw in Excel. So we're going to go to t-test, again, classical, and we're going to go to one sample t-test, and we'll click on there. And now it wants to know, okay, great, what variable are you going to measure? Well, we'll start with FVC. We'll start with that one. All right, so we're going to do FVC. We're going to pull that in our variables. Now, instead of just doing a typical t-test, though, we're going to do a z-test. So I'm going to make sure I have the z-test clicked on. And what it needs to know is, okay, fine, what is the test value? What's the mean of the population? And what's the standard deviation of the population? Well, we're going to say that for FVC, for the population we took this from, the mean is 6.5 liters with a standard deviation of 1.4. Again, we're going to assume that we know that. So I'm going to hit enter. And as you can see, it now has taken my data and done a one sample z-test compared to this data that I have for the population. And here it gives me a p-value of 0.005. Obviously, that's statistically significant. The key here is making sure you have the population mean and standard deviation. That obviously is going to affect the results of this test. So with this, we're a little more limited as far as what else we can do with this data. We can do descriptive values that will give us the mean and standard deviation. We can do that with all data sets. Doing a descriptive plot isn't really helpful here because we only have one set of data. There's nothing to compare it to, so that's not really helpful. We can do a Cohen's d, though that gets a little weird. We don't see that a ton in these, but we can do that as well. Likewise, this is obviously a pretty limited test, but with the key being that we know our population mean and standard deviation. So I can go ahead, and if I have another variable here like score, I can do that as well, and it'll immediately give me the p-value for that as well. So pretty straightforward to do, somewhat similar to an independent t-test. Just obviously we're using a z-test, not a student test. And it's a little different as far as some of the information it gives us. But that's how to do a one sample z-test or t-test using JASP. Hope it helped, and we'll see you in the next video.